Hello everyone, Playstyle here. Welcome back to Heroes of the Storm. I'm back from California. I went to the Heroes Rising event and I'm feeling really good. Apparently someone spread the nerd plague and a lot of people that attended are pretty sick right now, but for once I'm actually not part of that. It feels pretty incredible. I came home to Greymane being released, so this is my kind of first impressions theory crafting video. It's going to be a long, boring look at all of his talents and his abilities in try mode. If this is not for you, leave now and I will not be offended. I'm kind of upset that they used the same Easter egg twice in a row, but let's go ahead and jump into try mode and take a look at Greymane. Okay, so he is the first character added into the game that has two different he transforms. He has two different modes. His default mode is human form. You know, we can go in, we can shoot things. It's pretty cool. His Q ability in human form is called Greymane Cocktail. And what it does is sends out a... I'm going to turn my cooldowns off just for a moment so you can see the difference. Sends out a jar. And as you can see, when we just kind of miss, it doesn't do anything. But if we hit a target, it does explode and deal AoE damage behind the target. So pretty cool. I don't know why I said pretty twice. When the enemy team has a strong front line, which is so very common these days. Double, triple warrior running at you. You can do some pretty meaningful damage with this. And it's a pretty cool ability. His W ability is called Inner Beast, and this is the same when he's in wolf form as well. And what this does, it gives him a 50% attack speed increase for 3 seconds. And your basic attacks will refresh the duration. So what does that mean? Well, you can hit it, and then you get the timer over here at the bottom left. This is our attack speed. And if we stop attacking, you can see the timer goes away. As long as we continue to attack, the effect will stay up. And there are some talents in his kit that really enhance this quite a bit. I like those talents in my build quite a bit. I have played him for about 5 or so hours. TGN did want me to do a stream for him. So I do have a build in mind that I really like. It's tried and tested, at least in a group setting, and I've had some really good success with it. So I'm going to be sharing that by the end of the video. And it really does revolve around this W ability quite a bit. His E ability in human form is called Dark Flight, and it's important to distinguish that his abilities have different names in each form. It's kind of weird like that. Dark Flight allows him to jump onto a target and turn into a Worgen, which activates a wide array of other abilities at his disposal. That changes his Q into Razor Swipe, which is a very short cooldown. Obviously, it's a little enhanced right here. It's only a 3-second cooldown ability that allows him to kind of cleave through targets. Really cool. His W ability stays the same. It's still an attack speed increase. And then his E ability then turns into Disengage, which does not have to be targeted, and he can basically use it in any direction to roll out and become a human again. And of course, his trait is Curse of the Worgen. Use certain abilities when shapeshifted as a human or a Worgen. While human, your basic attack is ranged. While Worgen, your basic attack is melee. But here's the important thing. Deals 40% more damage. So you can see we're hitting for 103. Let's go ahead and up our attack speed. 103, 103, 103. We jump in as Worgen, 423. Very significant change. Now, Greymane himself has the second highest HP out of any melee assassin added to the game. I believe the only person that beats him is our good friend the Butcher. He has slightly higher HP. But none of this matters because in a quick match setting, like I said, I streamed for a long time. My first 4 games were all solo queue, or at least not full pre-made, and man, if everyone's not working with you, it is so easy to die on Greymane. So let's go ahead and take a look at his talents. This is where you kind of define his playstyle. You can focus to be more of a Worgen style player, you know, jump in, be very aggressive with your melee attacks. You can choose to be a kind of ranged assassin style character and shoot someone down. But really, you're gonna have the best performance if you play a mixture of the two. So at level 1, we have basic attacks lower your Inner Beast cooldown. While Inner Beast is active, each basic attack lowers its cooldown by 1 second. What does that mean? Let's go ahead and take that talent. That means if we hit our W and we continue to shoot this thing, if we hit 16 times, you can see your combo counter down at the bottom left. If we hit 16 times, which is hard to do, mind you, we can then stop attacking, and what do you know? Our W should be off cooldown again, and it is, and we can go right back into this. Now, I thought this would be my favorite talent in the tier, but there is another one that I ended up liking a lot more after playing around with it. His other talents: Perfect Aim, increase Greymane cocktail's range by 30% and refunds 60 mana if it hits an enemy hero. A lot of people were asking me to try the cocktail builds. It seems to have a pretty good following already. People think it's going to be a pretty strong playstyle. Me personally, I didn't care for it too much. Did not enjoy the playstyle very much. The way I play Greymane is very combo oriented, and I'll explain that as we go. So, Greymane Cocktail reveals heroes. This, I think, is fucking useless. You're so squishy that if you actually do reveal someone, again, we're speaking in a quick match solo setting with very little coordination. If you could see them, that's typically not going to stop them from killing you. And as we talk about the ability, it does not have a very long range. Granted, there are ways to augment this, but essentially, I don't think the vision is going to be very good at all. I don't think it's going to be that good. It can allow you in some circumstances to really track down kills, like if your enemy is retreating through a bush and you hit him with this first. Kind of the same as Lunara with her Toxin. That's the main use you get out of it. If you're not going versus stealthies, you can continue to chase people down relatively easy through terrain that would hide your character. But in what use I've had with it, I did not like it at all. I go for Viciousness. Inner Beast duration increased to 4 seconds. And when you read that, it sounds kind of underwhelming. So by default, it's 3 seconds. So why is increasing it to 4 seconds any good? That extra second is such a big deal. And on top of that, ability damage also refreshes its duration, which basically means if you're not actually in range to auto attack someone, you can throw out your Q and it'll keep your timer going. It'll keep your combo going a little bit longer. At level 4, my favorite talent basically depends on what we're going up against. You could go for increased explosion on the cocktail. I think that one would actually be fine with this build as well. Inner Beast causes basic attacks to restore mana. I haven't had too many mana issues, but theoretically this could be pretty good for your sustain. What I often do though is fluctuate between Thick Skin and Eyes in the Dark. Thick Skin is a block ability that is tied to Dark Flight. When using Dark Flight, the damage of the next two heroic basic attacks made against you deal 50% less damage. What does that mean? That means if Arthas auto attacks me, I take 50% less damage. And that's only when you dive in from human form with your E to get into Worgen form. That's the only time block is active. So again, for a combo-based, let me give you the basis of the build first, I guess. We'll go ahead and get mount form, get out. The basis of the ability the basis of the build rather that I'm telling you about is all about comboing. So, in order to start a fight, we're going to open up with our Q. It's going to deal damage. Then we're going to jump in, turn on our W, and then when Arthas starts to run away, we chase after him with our Q. And essentially, you want to combo these abilities together to burst someone down really fast, and the block allows you to basically survive a little bit longer. Now, the other one I go for is Eyes in the Dark. Disengage grants stealth. Disengage, again, is only the ability of your Worgen form using your E again. Like, while you're in Worgen form, Disengage is your E ability, basically. So it doesn't work for jumping into Worgen form, it only works for jumping out of Worgen form, and you can see we get stealth for 4 seconds. This makes it easier to run away from fights, which I find myself doing a lot more. Then at level 7, Quicksilver Bullets increased basic human attack range. I don't know if I said all those words in the right order, but you basically can shoot 20% farther. Good if you're trying to play safe, but I find myself almost always going for Incendiary Elixir. Greymane Cocktail deals 200% more damage to the enemy it impacts and explodes even if it misses. So essentially what this means is the Q ability by itself deals less damage to the first target and more to the ones that are hit by the AoE. So as you can see here, the one in the front took... Here, let's toggle off our cooldowns. The one in the front took 157 damage, and the others took somewhere in upwards of 400. 472. So if we get this, basically all the targets take essentially the same amount of damage. 472 to everybody. And it is a good way of getting some extra damage off even further away. So I can throw out the bottle and it'll explode regardless of whether it hits a target, which gives you, you know, a decent amount of screen size to get some extra range out. And I think it's pretty cool. The other talent at level 7 is Wizened Duelist, which is basically gathering power for your auto attacks. And Greymane is so damn squishy that there's no way you're going to be able to reliably stack this up. And it works the same as gathering power, you know, in the way that you get really, really strong, and it is very snowbally, but you die one time, and basically all of your fun is over. He's not a stealth assassin. He's not a Nova that can walk around and hide and wait for the perfect time. People are going to be focusing you all of the time, and a gathering power just doesn't seem to fit in his playstyle based on my testing today. At level 10, we have Go for the Throat, Eviscerate a Hero. You leap onto a hero and shapeshift into a Worgen, so you can do it as a... Actually, I think you can do it in either stance, but if you are inhuman, you will become a Worgen. You're going to slash 3 times and deal a total of... It scales throughout the game, but at level 20, 855 damage. So that's quite a lot. If it kills the target, the ability can then be used a second time in the next 10 seconds for free. So, let's go ahead and try this out. There are some things with this ability that just are shit. First of all, let's get into Worgen form and confirm we can use it. Yes, we can. If you... Let's toggle off cooldowns again. If you move at certain times, at least that's what I thought. Now that I'm actually seeing the animation on a target dummy, I guess it's not as bad. So I thought that if you move while casting the ability, you could actually cancel it. But now that I'm actually in try mode, seeing how it works, that's not the case. So I think I was hitting something like a spell damage or a spell shield, which was stopping the damage from happening. And basically, their life didn't move. So if you are playing a character that has access to spell shield, in fact, most times I was going against Lunara, who has an even better spell shield, I would find myself really not getting much value out of this. So keep that in mind. Another thing you need to understand is that there is 0 leeway with this. I feel like with Nova, there's a bit of wiggle room. You know, with her level 20 upgrade, if you take triple tap, if you kill a target, you get another triple tap. I don't feel like this has any wiggle room at all. Let's go ahead and turn our cooldowns off. So this is as if we're just playing the game normally. Arthas is just going to stand here and let us wail into him. We'll do a ton of damage. When he starts to move away, here we go. Pop my ultimate, and you can see the bar at the bottom of the screen. This is how long I have to use the ability again. If I were to deal 1,000 damage to Arthas and then finish him off immediately with an auto attack or with a Q, I would not have the option to do that again. So it really is a very strict killing blow with that ability. And when I started playing, when I started playing Greymane, I was really turned off by the idea that I didn't do it right. I missed out on the next execute. But honestly, guys, 1,000 damage at the press of a button instantaneously to a target is good for bursting someone down. Even if you don't get a last hit, that is a ton of damage that you're applying to a target. And your team is most likely going to be able to finish off the kill. So I don't really hold on to this. I use it to burst someone down. If I get a final hit while it's active, great, but I'm not stressing out over it. Let's go ahead and reset our talents, and I'll show you the other heroic, just so we are unbiased here. We have the marked for the kill. So you shapeshift into a human. So if you're a human, you just fire it. If you're a Worgen, you will switch out. And you basically apply vulnerability to the first enemy that you hit. Now, take a look at this skill shot. Very, very long range, but as you can see, a pretty small width. So if someone jukes out of this, it's going to be a pretty big deal. I believe if you're in Worgen form, there's a bit of a delay as well. No, there's not. No, there's not. And then if we activate it again while the bar on the bottom of the screen is there, we do get a pretty long range initiate. So that could be pretty cool. That could be pretty damn cool. It's a lot harder to use though. And there are some things about the ability that I want to bring to your attention. So first of all, you are getting a 25% vulnerability. Again, very long range, but a very difficult skill shot. Let's go ahead and fire it off a few times so you can see the projectile skill speed. It does kind of hover around your character at the start and then shoot out. Not a very fast skill shot though. I would say significantly slower than a snipe from Nova, and we all know how much those can be missed. So, I mean, it definitely has its place, and that long range engage can be so cool if you're trying to chase down a kill or you're waiting until the right moment to engage on a fight. But the 25% vulnerability is what Tyrande gets at level 1 by using her fucking trait. And she can talent for that to be, I don't remember how long the cooldown is. It's nothing, though. We have to wait 60 seconds to be able to use this thing, and while I agree the initiate is absolutely incredible and could be really, really cool, and there's going to be so many cool plays of it actually doing the right thing, just look how slow that projectile is. People are going to be able to dodge that so easy. So between the two, I would have to recommend that you pick up Go for the Throat. And we'll go ahead and reset really quick and get back there. Now that I have Go for the Throat, I could show you how good the burst damage is, but maybe I'll just wait until we are able to get all of our talents. So at level 13, we have Running Wild, increases the Dark Flight and Disengage range by 35%. I thought this would be pretty good for certain builds, but I found myself really gravitating towards one talent, and I really, really liked it once I switched up some of my earlier talents. Visceral attacks. Your Worgen basic attack reduces your Razor Swipe's cooldown by 1 second. So I thought that this would have a change to kind of make him play a little bit more like Illidan. But essentially, I thought this would be the same as Sweeping Strikes at some point. You could just go in and auto attack a ton. But as you can see, you don't really get any mobility out of your Q. I mean, you get a small, tiny little dash forward. And honestly, in most cases, it does less damage than your auto attacks. The good thing is it doesn't seem to stop your next auto attack from happening, so maybe it is still worth using, but I didn't find it to be too useful. I was picking it up for more of a mobility thing, but it didn't quite work in the way that I wanted it to. What I do really enjoy this talent here is On the Prowl. Inner Beast increases your movement speed. So if you read it in full detail, increases your movement speed by 30%, which is 10% less than a mount. Once your combo has been active for more than 3 seconds. This is why I personally pick up Viciousness at level 1, because by default, the combo is going to be up for 4 seconds, which means it's so easy to just keep this speed buff up. Let's go ahead and show how meaningful this can be. We'll just go ahead and open up here on everyone's favorite character, Arthas Menethil. Keep in mind, Arthas does slow me with that little AoE thing that he does. But, oh my god, is it really? Look how fast I can move. And this is without a mount. This is just 10% slower than a mount. Now, apparently Arthas counters this pretty well with his little AoE thing, which kind of sucks. But this also works in your human form as well. So when you try to leave, not only do you get a giant movement speed increase of 30%, but you also get stealth, which allows you to get away from most people in most circumstances. Really, really cool combo. I really like the synergy with those talents there, and recommend you give this one a look. The other option is you increase your Q's range while you're in wolf form. Let's go ahead and jump back into wolf. But it also increases the cooldown by 33%. So, I mean, you do get a little bit more mobility out of it, but the cooldown is gonna hurt. And I haven't tried that one out very much. Maybe I can look into that as we continue to grow with the character. You know, these are just my initial impressions on his talents. They could very easily change over time, and oftentimes they do. But usually, I can pick a pretty good build. It's usually just 1 or 2 talents off. At level 16, we have Concentrated Blast. You empower your Greymane cocktail during Inner Beast. This is going to allow it to deal 80% more damage, which is really, really strong considering you can have Inner Beast up all of the time. Really, really, really good. In fact, I would say that is a interchangeable option at this level. You can easily pick that up and be extremely effective with it. Extremely effective. An 80% increase means I'd be hitting for middle 600s here, I think. That was just some terrible math that I had no context for. Actually, fuck it. Let's go ahead and see. So, while my W is active, 884 on this bad boy. And remember, that's splashing damage because of our upgrade. So this is definitely a viable option if you are wanting to stay in human form a little bit more. I, however, have a pretty combo-oriented playstyle with him so far. So I like to start out poking at someone in human and then go hard in with that Worgen form. So let me just get all my talents back. Go for the throat, on the prowl. His other options at this level are Relentless, a 75% reduction to crowd control only while you're in Worgen form. Which honestly in some cases would be very, very good. The problem is I feel like if you get crowd control at all, you're just going to die anyway, so I don't know how much good this is going to do for you. Executioner basic attacks deal 40% more damage against slowed, rooted, or stunned targets. Nothing special about that. Lots of ranged assassins have this particular ability, but it only works in certain comps. Only if your team has a ton of crowd control, and if they don't, I would say you're better off. Now, keep in mind, this also works for Worgen and human form, and you already have a 40% basic attack increase while you're in Worgen form, so it could be very significant. Let's not dismiss it. Let's just say that it's going to be a little bit harder to use in most team comps. What I typically go for is Alpha Killer. You Worgen basic attacks against heroes deal bonus damage equal to 3% of the hero's maximum health. So let's go ahead and get in Worgen form. You can see we're hitting Arthas for 458. Then we go ahead and pick up this talent, and now we are hitting for an extra 170. That's what the white numbers under his name signify. Now that only counts on auto attacks. That does not increase your ability damage at all. So things like your ultimate don't hit harder, but of course with your W ability you do hit just as much. So 170 extra damage on Arthas, who is, you know, a medium health tank. He's not super tanky or anything, is a pretty significant increase. Pretty damn significant. And it is the one that I like most often. Now Unleashed just doesn't seem good. Granted, again, it's one of those abilities that you could just have fucking plays where you annihilate a whole team, you get a pentakill, and then you submit it to top 5 plays on the TGN Squadron channel, and we use it, you know, at least once. But the odds, like, it doesn't seem consistent enough. What I would recommend is you either go for basic attack splash in human form. And what is a splash? Well, I guess I'll show you in a moment. What I would typically recommend is basic attacks cleave for 100% damage while in Worgen form, because this basically means that you could walk up in a club and just fuck everyone's day up. Now cleave is only in front of you, so you do have to position, you know, carefully, but basically anything in a frontal cone you are going to be able to absolutely devastate. Let's go ahead and show you that again. You can absolutely devastate if you position properly. And again, this goes along with the idea that we're in a very warrior-heavy meta. Tons of frontline basically means you're going to be able to do this quite a bit. The other option, let me go ahead and reset talents again, is for you that have a little bit more of a focused human playstyle. And, you know, I believe I said anyway, that I like the Worgen one more. I haven't actually decided yet. Because, again, I play very oriented around the idea of I'm going to kind of tiptoe on the back line, I'm going to do some damage, and then all of a sudden I'm going to flip a switch, which is why I like Alpha Killer, by the way, because when I flip that switch, I want to make sure someone dies. But I flip a switch, and I fucking kill you. So that means that while I'm in human form, I can just kind of poke at a minion wave, and it'll splash to everything behind my initial target, which is equally as good versus, you know, super tanky front lines, but you don't have to be as close. You can be a lot safer. There is the talent that increases your range at level 7 as well, which would go really, really good with this playstyle. Again, you just kind of poke at someone, and then once you're ready to go in and deal damage, let's go ahead and pop our W. Really important for the combo to have at least 3 seconds of uptime on this. And then, you know what? It's time to go in and deal damage, and then you do shit like that. Isn't that insane? Isn't that fucking insane? That is what this ability is capable of. Or that's what this talent build is capable of. Let's go ahead and show it again, because I did have cooldowns like turned off. I want to make sure you know it's legit. So we need to get in human form. we have to make sure that we have the movement speed from our talent before we go in. It's pretty important. And we're just sitting back, and we're just going to poke Arthas down a little bit. We're going to make sure we stay safe. We're going to stay out of his abilities. Oh, he's getting pretty low. Let's pop our Q, jump in, and kill a motherfucker. And if the gate wasn't in the way, you know damn well that that would have happened. That's how fucking strong this build is. So where's the drawback here? What is the balance? Because that's insane. Well, just look how squishy I am. These are 2 towers and a fort at the 23rd level. That's insanely squishy. He has no self-sustain. He cannot keep himself healthy in combat. He has to have a support by his side. We have not seen a single talent that has life regen on it. So that's something like we have to position like this. That's why I like this build. It forces you to position very, very safely. You can still harass really, really well, but you have to stay safe the whole time. Then, with the flick of a switch, you're all of a sudden the most aggressive motherfucker in the whole world, and it's really satisfying. But knowing when it's time to go in is going to be the real big skill cap on this character. And it's, oh god, it's just so much fun. So again, we poke at our target. We make sure that they're going to die. And then boom, we walk in and own the place. And that's why I like these particular talents. That's why I like these particular talents. There are some changes you can make to this build. Again, increasing your basic attack range would come into play quite well at level 20, but you have to wait 20, like you have to wait, what is this, level 7? You have to wait 13 more levels to really see that benefit. Whereas you get instant payoff and better poke from the Incendiary Elixir. You could change your ultimate if you really wanted to, but this is that guaranteed damage on the flick of a switch that is just so, I find it so fun and so satisfying. Here it is one more time. We're going to get our attack speed up. The reason you want the movement speed buff is because when you jump into Worgen form, people are going to be running the fuck away from you. Like this Arthas right here. You can see his first reaction after my ultimate is to run away from me. And you are basically, let me turn cooldowns off, you are basically suppressed when this is active. I had some misconceptions of it while I was playing, but you can't move. I'm over here clicking really hard, and that gives them the window to get away, which is why the movement speed on your W ability, once it's active for 3 seconds, is so damn strong. I really, really, really like this build. Once again, I'll go over it from level 1 to 20 just to make sure we're clear about all my choices. Viciousness increases your inner beast duration by 4 seconds and causes ability damage to also refresh its duration. This allows you to keep your W ability up significantly longer in combat. While we were practicing on stream, I managed to get up to a 75 combo in the middle of a team fight, which is crazy. Then at level 4, I like to go for Eyes in the Dark. Disengage grants stealth. This is your E ability while you're in Worgen form, which allows you to get away from most targets. We've talked about it a lot already, but the Incendiary Elixir allows you to poke more at long range and genuinely makes him a much safer pick. Allows him to poke in lane a lot better, allows him to poke in team fights a lot better until it's time to go in. Let's toggle off cooldown so you can see the actual cooldown of this. 10 seconds. Then at level 10, I like Go for the Throat, again, because I like to play him very combo-oriented. On the Prowl at level 13 is going to allow me to increase my movement speed when our W ability has been up for at least 3 seconds. And with our talent at level 1, we have a default 4-second duration. So even if you don't fucking do anything, you can get a very, very, very small movement speed increase. And with this talent, you know, your attack speed modifier sticks a little bit more. So even if you do need to disengage from a fight, like let's go in here, we'll get the buff, we'll engage. We disengage in stealth if we stayed in a little bit longer, and our movement speed lasts for a full 4 seconds. So pretty good survivability increase, allows you to chase and secure kills better as well. Then at level, what is this, 17, 16, I don't remember. Why don't I know that? I really should. I believe it's 17. We get basic attacks deal a bonus equal to 3% of your target's maximum health while you're in Worgen. Again, with the idea of as you jump in with that Worgen form, you are going to secure that kill. And it is worth mentioning that 3% is the highest giant killer percentage you can get in the game, tied with Artanis' Titan Killer. And again, we talked about this as well, but all of these options are actually pretty good at this level. Relentless Predator, in my opinion, being the weakest, and Executioner I only see that really being viable if your team is built for it. If you're going in with a pre-made, or it just so happens that the quick match stars align. Then at level 20, I do think I recommend the Hunter's Blunderbuss a little bit more. Again, with the idea of the enemy team probably has a lot of front line, and you can just sit here and kind of pick them apart. And then Tooth and Claw, decent alternative if you like the Worgen playstyle a little bit more. So let's go in here and I'll show you it again. I'm sure you got it by now. It's really, really satisfying. You can do a ton of fucking burst damage, but you really are a glass cannon, and you really do have to rely on positioning and split-second decision-making in order to get kills. But I've had a lot of fun with this build today in a pre-made setting. We might come up with a different one for solo queue, but this is what I had a lot of success with today. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned something. I hope this helped you out, and we'll be back with some Greymane gameplay very soon. I'm gonna get this kill. I hope you know that, Arthas. Okay, bye.